Python, Core Java, and etc. Right? So that's about me. So please feel free to ask your questions. You can stop me there. You can ask your questions. Okay, don't need to wait for me to like ask you what's your doubt. Okay, you can just stop me, and then you can ask your questions or clarification, and then we'll continue from there. Right? So if that is all fine, shall we start with today's session? Yeah, all right, guys, fine. So first, I'll just take you through what is the course plan and all your questions. Yes, Mayur, I see your question. Backend best language Java, JavaScript. Yes, I'll explain you, Mayur. Okay, so I'll just take you through like what is the course structure, like what you would be learning in this 100 hours curriculum. So what is front end, like what is back end, what are the concepts you're going to learn, and also like what are the competitors you have, and why is JavaScript better over the other things, say Java, Python, full stacks. We'll discuss all these things first, and then we'll start with the agenda. Right? That is the actual curriculum plan. Right? So I hope you would have like done some research on what is a full stack web development, right? So can someone just let me know like what is a full stack web developer role? What is basically MERN stack? So have you done some research? Any insights about what is a full stack web development? What is especially with MERN, right? So any insights, anything you have researched, anything you have searched, why we should learn this? Any idea? You can feel free to answer. You can unmute and you can answer. Okay, no issues with that.
The one
Vipul, yes. Can you be
one
bit loud?
step difference of one maybe Express.js and React. The one who
So we are going to discuss with JavaScript frameworks like React and libraries like Node. And yes, guys. So any other insights like why you should like you should go for MERN? What is full stack web development? So basically, full stack web development is you're going to create an end-to-end application. Am I right? So, um, so you're going to have a web application, right? So you would have used a lot of e-commerce application, or let us say you're using some banking application, right? So it's an end-to-end application, right? So where you search something on the website, you get some output, right? You get some result dynamically, which is connected to your backend, right? So through your databases. So that is an end-to-end application. Okay, not just a front end, right? So not just like let us say you're just going to have a front end where you cannot get or fetch some data from your backend, right? So you are going to learn how to develop an end-to-end application with MERN. Okay, so when I am discussing through all these things like what is React, right, what is Node.js and all these things, I'll tell you like why it is better than the other, right? So you can ask me, like many of you are asking, why not Java, why not Angular, right? So it's all with basically with the demand and supply. Okay, I don't say that Java is not good and Angular is not good. Okay, React has its own advantages, and also it is like there are few advantages with React or say with JavaScript. Okay, and in terms of architecture also it's easy, right? The architecture is also very simple, so that like people started moving towards React and JavaScript frameworks. Okay, to answer that, that would be the first thing. Okay, so it's because of the Node.js architecture. Okay, so also JavaScript is compatible with almost all the programming languages, right? So you can adapt it with, say, Scala, you can adapt it with C++, you can adapt it with React, you can write it, you can adapt with Angular, you can adapt with Python, you can adapt with a lot of programming languages, right? So that is what JavaScript, right? So JavaScript can connect, can work with different programming language, okay, in general. Okay, that is why JavaScript frameworks became popular. Okay, if you talk about Java architecture, so Java has a fixed, like let us say you are writing a front end, right? So the integration in terms of other languages, Java provides only lesser options. Okay, so Java or PHP, it provides lesser options, right? So it gives you the flexibility. You can integrate with multiple languages, okay, multiple programming languages. That is why JavaScript frameworks are basically they are popular. Okay, in terms, like I'm just talking generically about JavaScript frameworks. Okay, I'll tell why you have to choose React now. Okay, because it has more demand, that is one thing, and also it has its own advantages over Angular. Okay, so I'll discuss that when we go through each like let us say each phase, right? So our program is basically divided into different phases, of which first would be your front end, and the next one is going to be a backend, right? So by the name itself, like you can understand like what would come under front end and what could come under the backend. So basically, whatever the user sees, right? So say for example, you are taking some website. Okay, let us go and search for Amazon. So this is an application, right? So this is a web application. So could you like tell me like what are the user interface elements which will fit in front end? Front end itself, by the name, what you can understand. So whatever elements the user is seeing and interacting becomes your front end. So can you list down few elements which you see in this application, in this homepage? Can we develop web apps with MERN? Vipul, you can. Okay, like backend will be the same, Vipul. Okay, that is your Express node will be the same. Okay, you can use some like different front end for that. Okay, so in that cases, you have to like not entirely with MERN, because MERN is for web development. Okay, it's for web development, but still you can reuse some components for web development also. Okay, if you learn React Native, I mean, we are going to learn React here. It's because it's entirely web development. You can learn React Native further, but the backend will remain same. Okay, the backend will be Express and Node. Okay, with MongoDB, you can reuse that, but only the front end will change. Okay, because mobile application architecture is different, right? So in that cases, you can go for React Native if you're learning React also. Okay, so it gives you that flexibility, but not with React. Okay, you have to go for React Native. Yeah, I was just asking you something, right, guys? Like what do you see with the front end perspective is my question. So let us just understand and pick what are the technologies you're going to learn, what is the phases, and then we'll start with some introduction. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. And also in between, if you get any questions about MERN stack in general, you can raise it. So this is the web application, right? So just tell me like what are the components you see here? So what will fit in front end? Yes. So you can see a lot of components here, right? Like let us say you have buttons, right? You have some search bars, you have images, right? You will also have some videos sometimes embedded, a lot more components like text. You would have some audios, videos, embedding maps, all these things, right? So creating this, right? So just creating this content, okay, creating your multimedia on a web page, okay, you're going to use a HTML for that. So probably most of you might have known what is HTML, right? So can someone tell me like what is HTML? What are the possibilities you can work with HTML? What can HTML do? What can't a HTML do? So any insights about that? What is HTML? What it is used for? How many of you here are entirely new for this web development? Like, let us say you don't know like some basic programming language, or you're entirely new for this coding background or IT background. Anyone is there here? So that I'll make it very simpler so that you can understand. That's why I'm asking you. Just give me a second. Yeah. So hypertext markup language. I am completely new. I didn't have coding background. Yes, Prafulla. Yeah, all right. All right. That's fine. Yes, Srinath. So it's a hypertext markup language. Okay, so we call it as a hypertext markup language. So what is this hypertext markup language? So see guys, like you have all these components, right? So some using some language, you have to create it. Okay, so generally we use some markup language for this. Okay, I'll tell you what is the difference between markups and what is programming. Okay, so this is a markup, okay, which is going to create these elements to your output. Okay, so today we'll create a very simple web application with some textual content. Okay, so that you'll like get to know how it is created. So HTML is just a markup. Okay, it will just create the element, whatever. Let us say you want to create an image. So what are the things you can create is you can create text, right? So you can create audios, you can create videos. Creating means like you can embed. Okay, you can just put it to your web page. Okay, not the actual creation. I'm talking about adding your text to your web page, adding audios to your web page, adding videos to your web page, and like let us say all the other multimedia types, right? So say for images you have hyperlinks, like right, all these things you can create with HTML. Okay, it's just meant for creating a static view of your web page. Okay, so it will just create these contents to your web page. Okay, that is what a HTML can do. Okay, but is a web page only this, or it has a lot more things, guys? Like just tell me what are the things you will have in a web application? Only is it going to display some text, audios, videos, images, hyperlinks, or it is going to do more than that? How is it going to be? So you don't do that, right? Like let us say I'm scrolling on this element, you search for something, you're getting a lot of things. Also, it's properly aligned. Okay, the very important thing notice here is it is properly aligned. You have some good layouts here, right? Let us say just you are creating some collage. Okay, like you are editing some a couple of images. If you want to place all the images in one place, you create a collage, right? So let us say like this it is here, but you cannot align it or you cannot style it using HTML. Okay, I'll create a very simple HTML page. Okay, like I'll do that when we go for the demo. So if you see, it won't be looking like a website. Okay, to be frank, it will be it will not be looking like a website. It's just going to add it to the web page and show a very simple. Okay, but it is not going to style, right? So you have a lot of like styling done here, right? So you have some proper layouts, you have some good alignment, you have some like see this font size is different, if you see this font size is different, right? So a lot more things are there, right? Not only a website is just creating an element, you have to style it, you have to make that aesthetically look good on a web application. Okay, in terms of user experience, if the user wants to visit, if he wants to use your website, that experience should be good, right? So for doing all these things, you have to go for a CSS. Okay, so I'll tell you what is CSS, what is the abbreviation and all. Okay, let us leave that part. Just understand CSS is going to give a makeover to your web application, right? So it's going to make it look good, right? So it is going to put the elements proper in proper places, and all with all your alignment, formatting, all the things will be done by your CSS. Okay, so this is for the look and feel. So look and feel, I mean to say, is with your styling. So styling means like you want to change some font size or you want to align something. All these things will come under your style. And what else? Like creating your layouts and also with your responsiveness. Okay, now just like I just want you to run in your mind, like when you were using applications before, let us say before 5 years, were you mostly using Android applications or you were using the web applications? Like let us say, for example, um, like there were many applications at that time, right? So which you prefer to use, mobile applications or web applications? Which you prefer to use more? Like let us say before 5 years back. Okay, in mobile. Okay, in mobile, I'm asking. Let us say there is one particular service. Okay, let us say it's Flipkart or anything, right? So before 5 years, I saw like if you revise it back, right? So mostly people were using mobile applications. Okay, mostly you want websites, you won't view hyperlinks, tech. I mean, your website links on your mobile. I don't think so. I'm talking about 5 years, 6 years back, right? Why why is that? Like you went for mobile applications most of the time. We didn't use web applications at that time because it was not properly viewed on your mobile devices. Am I right? Let us say you're opening a Wikipedia page now, not now. Okay, go back. Okay, just rewind and just think how was websites looking on your mobile browser. Okay, I'm not talking about your screen browsers or your desktop browsers. Just think how it was present in a mobile browser. If you're browsing some website, how would be the alignment? Is it properly aligned according to your device width, according to your screen size, or it was just like for the bigger screen, you have to scroll and see the contents? How was the experience? You got my question right? So if I tell you, if you can remember, when you viewed your web applications before, right, it will not fit your device size. Okay, it will be something like you will have all the blank spaces. You have to scroll and scroll left to right, top to bottom. You have to zoom in and see your content. Do you remember, like anyone has experience like this? So probably those websites, it was like that. Okay, before that period, like it was like that. But how about now? Like, is the device with is it the website adapting? The link is not changing, right? If you see, let us say you're viewing Wikipedia on your mobile phone. Okay, it will fit to your device with the link is the same. It is Wikipedia let us say .en. If you view that on a screen size also, it will be like that only. Okay, it will adapt to the screen width. How is it done is a question now. The link is the same. Okay, whatever is present, the content, the web application is the same, but the look and feel differs to different device with. Let us say you're viewing it on a mobile. Let us say you're viewing it on a tab. Let us say you're viewing it on a screen, on a desktop. It's adapting to that size where that application is open, where your web application is open. So we call that as a responsive design. Okay, so you have to write that thing. Okay, you have to specify what is the device width, how it is going to look for this device width. Okay, so all these things will be also done by your CSS. Okay, so let us go for Wikipedia. Let us say I'm typing Wikipedia. Right, so you can see the Wikipedia page down here, right? So just we'll try to look at how it is going to look for a different screen size. Okay, so you can see it down here, like it's way looking different for a mobile device and whatever screen size you are using, right? So let me just pull this here, right? So see here, like whatever device with I'm changing, right? So it's looking better, right? It's looking better. Even more, one more website will be good. Let me show you that. So you'll also be learning Bootstrap. Okay, see this design. This is what I was talking about exactly. So this device, okay, I mean, this website will look different for different screens. I see. Look at your navbar. Okay, you have this navbar, right? So when I change my screen size, see what's happening. Is this design responsive or not? It's looking better in this mobile screen size also, right? Maybe this is a mobile screen size, or for even for tab screen, for whatever screen size you're viewing, it's better, right? It's looking, it's adapting to that size, and it's showing that components. So for creating that for creating your responsive designs also, you'll be using CSS. Okay, so in terms of responsiveness, you will be using CSS. We call it as like media queries technically. Okay. So we'll also discuss about these things. Okay, so this is what CSS can do. Is it clear? It's just like your Word document, guys. Okay, it's just for your content representation. You're selling some service or some product. That's it. So what you do in Word, you will write some text, right? Let us say you're writing a table, you're writing some paragraph. Will it look good? You will align it, you will change the font size, right? So all these things cannot be done with HTML. It can be done with CSS. Okay, very simple. So that is what HTML can do. And this is what CSS can do. You can create content here. You can style it, and you can make it look better using CSS. Okay, so we'll be discussing it in the upcoming sessions. What is HTML, CSS? What are the different layouts with CSS? We will be discussing. So any questions up to this, guys? Like what is HTML? What is CSS? Any questions you have? You please ask me. Example of XML. Because to be like frank, no, like you would not be using XML nowadays. Okay. I'll tell you why, like creating your like dynamic content tags, right? So mostly nowadays XML is extinct. Okay, like you can do it better with React. Okay, so you can create your components. Okay, using like we say React components. So XML is something like, let us say HTML has some predefined tags, right? So say for example, if you create heading, it should look like that. So you don't need to go for predefined tags. You can start creating your own tags. Okay. So the same thing will be done with React. Okay. We'll be calling it as components. So mostly XML scope will not have with React. Okay. With respect to React. Okay. It is slower. Like basically using XML, the XML parsers are actually slower. Okay, so we will see with React. Okay, so React is better than using XML. It's not only for XML, it has a lot of advantages. Okay, so that's with the XML thing. Yeah. So let us go on to the next one, guys. Okay, so we'll also be discussing about Bootstrap. So Bootstrap basically the same thing, whatever you do with CSS. Okay, but it's a framework. Okay, like it's meant for reusability. Okay, you can use the components which they have already built with Bootstrap, right? You can reuse that. So it's basically a CSS and a JavaScript framework. Okay, so like your work will be less. Okay, so you can just simply reuse these components and create good layouts. Okay, so we'll discuss that. So it's simply a combination of CSS and JavaScript. Okay, now coming to JavaScript. Like now here is where you will get a lot of questions, right? So when I talk about a website, right? So you search for something, right? So let us say, for example, you're searching for mobiles. Okay. So you're searching some content, like this content is being processed at the backend, and like whatever data you have from the backend is displayed here, right? So all the things is fetched and just displayed to your front end, right? So what we would be learning in our curriculum is we'll also be learning JavaScript for front end as well as for backend. Okay, so JavaScript is a very big like a scripting or a programming language. It is used for both your front end and back end. Okay, so we would be discussing all your like all your concepts related to front end as well as back end in the JavaScript. Okay, so with front end, right? So with front end, you will be learning what is React.js, right? So about this library, what is React.js, how to build your components, what are the like many advantages have. You will just learn that. So what is basically React.js is, guys, see, someone asked what is Angular versus React, right? So Angular versus React is very simple. I can tell only one point, which is very advantageous in terms of the page loading. Okay, I say page loading. So I think someone asked this question, right? Mean or MERN. So any guesses of what is a DOM, guys? Like in general, those who are new, you don't need to worry. Okay, we are going to discuss what is DOM and other things. You don't need to worry about the complex things. But those who have some idea before, just tell me what is a DOM. As a fresher, completely new to IT, is it easy to learn all these? Yes, Prafulla, like it will be easy. You'll be having a hands-on. Okay, like we'll be giving a demo here, and you'll be expected to complete the same on the same day itself. Okay, let us say first 1.5 hours it will be the session. The last half an hour you will be practicing. Okay, in case if you get any doubts, any issues you're facing, you can get back to me. So we'll sort it that day itself. Also, you'll be having a lot of mini projects and tasks so that you can cope up. Okay, it's not that much difficult. Okay, if you understand, if you start working on your task and doing some mini project, you'll get used to it. Okay, it's just some matter of time. You have to spend some good time, maybe 100 hours, and let us say 100 hours of practice, you will be able to learn it. Okay, so no doubts with that. Okay, so there are many people who have learned full stack web development. They are successful web developers from different backgrounds. Let us say from finance, let us say from digital marketing. Like different people, they don't have basically any the coding background, but still they were able to do it. So you can. So yeah, I was asking you something, guys. Like those who have worked with JavaScript or let's say Angular. Yes, Prafula, no problem. Never mentioned. Yeah. So I was just asking this one, right? So why mean and why MERN? You just tell me what is DOM, guys. Like any idea of what is a DOM? Have you worked with DOM? The answer can be yes or no. Okay, don't worry if you don't know something, you can just post no so that I can explain you deep in further. Any idea of what is DOM, guys? DOM, Document Object Model. It's a programming interface to web. Good, Chetan. Yes, exactly. So yeah, so I got some good answer. Let me just proceed with that. See, when I say I'm creating some content, okay, so I think we'll start with HTML now. Okay, meanwhile, I'm doing it. I will also tell what is the advantage of React. Okay, so today we'll see some thing with front end. In the next session, I'll be explaining with backend. Okay, so backend is all with your databases and other middlewares. Okay, so it's basically with processing your data from front end to database, again from database to front end. Okay, so we'll come back to this part later. You don't need to worry. So let us stick on to front end. Okay, like let us see what is the advantage of React and how you create your web pages. Let us move on to that. Okay, is it all fine? Shall we move on to the demo and create some simple HTML web pages? So I'll explain you what is DOM. Okay, that is why I'm trying to move to HTML. While I'm doing HTML, like I'll tell you what is the working of DOM. And with respect to DOM, why React is better, we'll discuss that. Okay, that is what we are going to do now. Okay, is it fine? Is it clear? Any questions? Yeah. So first thing, I want you to install few editors where you will be writing your code. You can also stick onto your Notepad or Notepad++. That is not a problem. Okay. So I would be using a Visual Studio Code. Okay, which is basically a text editor, the place where you write your code. Okay, that is enough. And to see the output, to see a web page, a browser is enough, right? So generally we view our websites on web, we view it on our web browsers, right? So it's enough if you have your web browsers. Okay, so just make sure you install this VSC. I'll just give you the link over here so that you can download it. So this is your Visual Studio Code. You can write any code here. Okay, so it's not specific to MERN. Okay, you can write any code. You can write Python. You can write any language. Okay, so just download for which operating systems you're using and install it. Okay, so you will be getting some UI like this. Okay, this is just the place where you type, guys. Okay, like I see like few people get confused, like what is Visual Studio Code? It's not software, nothing. Okay, it's just a code editor like your notepad. Okay, like in Word, you'll write some files and all, right? The same way. Okay, here it is meant for writing your programs. Okay, so just install this. So probably how it will look like for you when you're installing is, when you open this, I will close it. Just give me a second. It will be looking like this, right? So we have to create a files and we are going to start working on this, right? So I'll just go back and on the desktop or any drive, okay, you're using, you can create a folder, okay, for your project. Okay, let me say I'm going to create it as FEB 2022. Okay, just pull this folder from to your VSC. Okay, so just go to your Visual Studio Code, open that folder here. Okay, just go to file and give open folder. And in desktop, you're going to open this FEB 2022. Okay, we haven't yet created any file. We'll start creating the file and we'll create our web pages. Okay, so just click on this. Now you can see different options down here. You can create a new file, you can create a folder and other things. Okay, so let me just create a new file here. Okay, and let me name it as index. Okay, now generally whatever like softwares or let us say you're using some editors like Microsoft Office or let us say Excel, you'll be giving some formats, right? So for documents, you'll give .doc or .docx, or for Excel, it will be Excel or XLX, right? So the same way for HTML files, you have to give the proper extension, and then only your browser will understand this is a web application and it will further process and show your components. Okay, I'll tell you what is that processing. That is where DOM will come in. Okay, so what should be the extension now for this file? It's a web page, right? So basically the web page, we are going to create the structure using HTML. Okay, so give the extension as .html. Okay, guys, so this is the first thing. And I already told you HTML is a hypertext markup language, right? So markup, what it will do is it will not have any compiler or interpreter. Okay, like you would have learned some programming language wherein you have some compiler or interpreter, you run it, you will get some output from that, right? So it's not like that. Okay, it's just going to create the elements through some predefined tags. Okay, we call it as HTML tags. It has some structure, you have to follow that, create your data within the tag, and that will be viewed on your web browser. Okay, so the basic tag where all your elements, all your components should sit in is a HTML tag. Okay, so I'll just give you a boilerplate. For beginners, it will be easy. Just give this shortcut in your VSC, give exclamation and a tab. Okay, so you can see something is loaded down here. And if you note all the things, like you can see everything is written within an angular braces. Okay, like angular braces is this one. So could you notice it? Everything, right? Whatever is written here, it's written with an angular braces. Whatever is written within an angular braces is called as a tag. Okay, it's called as a HTML tag, right? Is it clear, guys? Like you can just give this shortcut, you'll load the boilerplate. Okay, wherein you can delete this line number 4 to 6. This we are not going to use now. It's not very important to have it. I'll tell you when you can have it mandate. I'll just save this. So for all your HTML file, the root tag of your file is going to be a HTML. Okay, so you can see HTML is the root tag. Okay, just see the structure, guys. Anyhow, I'll do it fresh. I'll type it line by line. I'm just explaining you the structure. HTML, like all your web page has two parts. Okay, like what is there in your URL. Okay, this part. See, this is the entire web page, right? So whatever there up to the URL with your tab, that is one part. And whatever you see on this white page is one part. Okay, we call this as head and we call this as body. And everything will be coming inside a HTML. Okay, you can see just like a human body, it's with like it is divided as head and body, right? So two divisions, right? So within that, we are going to create the content. Okay, so I'll do like this is a structure. Okay, HTML within HTML head and body. Okay, so just delete this boilerplate. Just for example, I have shown you. You can use that or you can type it from scratch. Okay, so we are going to write tags now. So all the tags sits inside what? It sits inside your Angular braces. So the root tag or the first tag which you have to create so that the web page, your web browser can understand this is a HTML is a HTML tag. Okay, and similarly, you can also see one another tag just like the same. Okay, you can see two things, right? HTML, HTML. But what is the difference between the first line and the third line? What's the difference between the first line and the third line? Start and close. Exactly, Vikash, right? So see here, guys, like everything, it has this structure. Okay, you have to start something, you have to close it. So I'm writing a start tag, right? I'm opening a tag and also you have to close it. How to close it is you have to give a forward slash before that tag. Okay, so that is your HTML. And already I told you like what a HTML can contain. It is going to have two parts. One is your head and one is your body, right? So let us say I'm going to write a head tag, the same thing, write it within a Angular braces, and don't write body within head. Okay, like HTML is there within that two parts. One is head, one is body. Both should be there separately. Okay, don't write it within that. No, don't nest it within that. Okay, so after head, after you have closed your head, start writing a body. Right, so you just have your head and your body. Now let us see what is the working of this head and the body. So I already mentioned where your head will work and where the body will work, right? So this is our head part, right? So this is our head part and this is where the body is starting, right? So you can see something here, right? Like this is a tab, right? So this is a tab. You see some title on your tab. See Bootstrap, the popular HTML, CSS, JS library in the world. Okay, so here you can see Visual Studio Code, code editing, redefined. So here you can see Amazon.in mobile stand. Like some title is there, right? So if you want to create the title on your tab, you have to create it within the head tag. Okay, just create with your head tag. And the tag for creating your title is just title. Okay, give title. Okay, now you have to create some content within it, right? So you have to create the text description, what you should put inside your title, right? So that you have to write it between these tags, between your opening tag and between your closing tag. You should not write any content for head like that. Okay, don't like think like we have to write some text between body, opening body and closing body tag. It won't interpret properly. There are ways to do it, we'll discuss. Okay, before that I'm going to create some content here. Okay, so let us say I'm going to create day one. I'm creating HTML. Okay, just save this and you go back. We will open that application. Okay, so that's done. Okay, this is a very simple web page where in the title bar you will be having this where you will be having this title. Okay, in the tab. Okay, so for showing the output, you don't need to have any special software. As I mentioned you already, you can just view it on any browser. Okay, so I'll just view it on a Chrome. You can also view it, double click and view it on your default browser. Okay, here the default browser is we are using some other browser, right? So you can view it with whatever browser you want. like it's edge here, right? So generally I'll do it with Chrome. Okay, since it's faster, I'm just opening it in Chrome. Okay, so can you see that? Just a minute. Yeah. So can you see that title anywhere? Like we had created one title tag. So where do you see it? Where do you see that title? Let us say I'm not giving the title. Okay. Let me just show you two different variants. I'll just remove this title. If I refresh this. So what is the difference between previous and this? What's the difference, guys? Whatever title you had now, like it's giving the file name, right? It's not giving the application name, right? So that is why we use this title. See, when I give the title and refresh, you can see whatever title you have created, it is created for the application. You can also set the icons here, like we'll do that in the later part. Okay, so you don't need to worry about this. Just look at your title for now. Okay, so give title for your applications. Okay, is it fine? Any questions? If you have any questions, please let me know, guys. Yeah. Any questions? Krishna Kumar, do you have any questions?
HTML तो हम पढ़े हैं। HTML पढ़े हैं। मैं HTML JavaScript कोई पढ़ा रही है।
All right. So I hope it's clear, right? So we'll just move to the actual content part where you have that DOM. Okay, so we'll talk more about DOM. Let us not wait for that. So you have seen that, right? Now you want to create some content. The ways of creating content is different. Okay, like you can create text. Already I shown you the different options, right? You can create multimedia files. Okay, like multimedia content types like text or say images, videos, audios, hyperlinks, right? So we'll see how to create that. Oh, I'll just take a very simple tags now. So for let us focus on the textual tags now. Okay, so we'll talk about text. Okay, so text like usually you will create like mostly four types of text. Okay, like one is you will be creating headings, you'll be creating your paragraphs, right? Just like how you do in the word file, the same thing, but you should follow some structure here. Okay, so we have headings, paragraphs, you can create lists, you can create tables. These are some textual tags we have, textual content. So for creating headings, I'll just put h1. Okay, opening tag and a closing tag. Let us say I'm just going to give MERN stack. Okay, I'll just give coding chakra here. Save this and just go back and refresh. So you can see some heading on the page, right? So the question is it displaying this h1 or is it displaying this title on the browser? Is it showing on the web page or it's just simply ignored? Yes. It's just not showing any title or it's not showing any headings down to the output, right? So it's just taking this content and it's displaying, right? So how is it done is a question now, right? So how it is understanding if it is a heading, this should be of this format, right? So everything is in bold, right? It's in bold. The same way I can also create a para. Okay, so for creating a paragraph, it's just a p tag. Okay, do it in small. It's better to have all your tags in smaller cases. It's not case sensitive, but it's good to have it with small letters. Okay, so I'll just give some paragraph here. It's just some random paragraph. Okay, just tell me the difference between this heading and this paragraph. What's the difference? What's the visual difference you see here with your, say, the heading and the content? The font size is different, right? How the browser is understanding that, right? So it should understand if it is H1, it should show in this format. If it is paragraph, it should show in this format. So everything will be done by your browser DOM. Okay, I was talking about DOM, right? I was telling DOM has advantages when we go for React. So this DOM is a, like as Chetan mentioned, it's a programming interface where it is going to interpret all your tags. Okay, it is going to understand a tag and put it to your browser in a certain format. Okay, so first, before it is shown to your browser, it will be interpreted by a DOM. Okay, you can assume like DOM is a program which is running on your browser. Okay, so I can show you some thing with the DOM viewer. Okay, it's not the actual thing which will be running, just to visualize how it would look like, it will be this case. Okay, so I'll just copy my HTML. Okay, just put it down here. So this is the output of our program, right? It's just an online tool, guys. Okay, just to know how a DOM is working, I'm showing you this. Okay, so this is going to be your output, right? And see this one, this is your code. Okay, this is your markup. But how a browser will change is the browser will take all the tags, it will convert it to this format in the behind. Okay, it is going to have a data structure. Okay, it's a program which is running on your browser, which will understand all the tags and load it to your browser. Okay, it will show it to your browser, like it will convert it like this and show. Okay, it's basically a data structure. It's a tree data structure where it has all the nodes, and whatever representation it gets, it just converts to the output. Okay, this is what DOM works. Okay, now the question with efficiency of React is, let us say there is there is some change with your application. Okay, like generally the website will not look the same way, right? You can, like when you give some input, okay, let us say I'm searching for something else here. Okay, I'm searching for, say, mobile. All your headers is remaining the same, this sidebar is remaining the same, only this body part is changing. Am I right? This one, right? So this one which is there in your application is changing. Is these things changing? Your navbars are changing? Or let us say your cart, it's the same for whatever you search, right? Maybe the sidebar will change according to what you're searching. Okay, am I right? That too, the structure is same, right? Say for example, I'm searching for say mobile stand itself. So this one, these options are remaining the same, right? Like only the text content is changing, but the format is same. Your navbars is same, like this part is same, and your cart component, everything is the same. But which part of your application is changing? Only the middle part. Maybe let us say this is one section, or this is one part of your application. This is only changing. There is no changes in the other parts. Am I right? Yes. Do you get my point, guys? Like what I'm trying to ask you? Okay, now the question is, if this is changing, who is changing? DOM is changing behind, and whatever DOM is getting is shown to the browser, right? So if you see this, let us go for a simpler example. How many elements are there in this DOM now? In the body. Okay, leave the other things. This is my body tag. This is my body node. It has how many elements? Those who ask why mean, why not mean, why MERN, I just want you to like think about it. Okay, just tell me how many nodes are there within body tag. Two, right? Now, let us say something is changing. Okay, in future, you'll write a program where, let us say you're searching for some content. Okay, let us say you're searching for main stack. Okay, let us say this heading alone is changing to main stack coding chakra. Okay, And also this paragraph is changing. Whatever other contents is there, it's remaining the same. Okay, let us assume. Okay, let us say the instructor profile, the company profile is remaining the same, but only this title and whatever content related to main stack is changing. Other parts of the application are not changing. Okay, so let us say I'll just put here, I'll put instructors. I'll just put tag, say H2. Some data is there. Okay, leave that. You don't need to worry. So we have some profile information and all. But let us say you're searching for something. Only these two nodes are changing. Now I have 3 nodes, or let us say there are n number of nodes. Out of the user search, something is changing in the application. The question is, if you have this DOM, right? So let us say you have some 10 or 15 nodes after this. Okay, of which only 2 nodes are subject to change. Logically, okay, don't go programmatically. Logically, if I'm changing something, okay, if I'm changing something out of 10 things, I'm changing only 2. Which one is better? Okay, option 1, if you're updating only those 2 nodes to your browser is better. Okay, update it and again reload the other things, even whatever is not changing also is better. Which is better? Let us say like these 2 nodes updated. Okay, you changed it. Leaving that is better. Leaving like that is better. Or reloading everything once again is better. Which is a better approach? 1 or 2? Yes. You got my question?
Yes.
So you are not going to update everything, right? Whatever is updated, only that you refresh is enough. That is what logically is means, which is going to work out. You don't need to do the reloading everything. Okay, but DOM will actually reload everything. Okay, even though some node is changing, it is going to reload all the contents again. Okay, so this is actually a drawback. Okay, this is one shortcome of a DOM, right? So let us say there is one small change on your web application. It is going to load all the contents once again. That is not better. Okay, so that is why we go for React. We have something called as a virtual DOM. Okay, so which will take care about this loading. Okay, so whatever part of your application is changing, only that will be updated to your DOM. The other things will not be disturbed. Okay, so that your page load time, the efficiency will be better. Okay, let us say only one small thing is changing there. You have lot of nodes in your web application. Because of that change, everything is reloading. You will see some web applications will be loading for a long time. So it means that it is loading the entire DOM. We are waiting for that result. Okay, so React will not do it like that. Okay, so whatever is changing, it will update that alone. The other parts of your application will not be touched. Okay, it will not be reloaded. Okay, so that is one of the greatest advantages of React. Along with that, you have better state management tools like you have Redux or Flux, you say, where you can handle your states between components efficiently for having consistent data. And building your components, you can build your reusable components, right? You write one navbar. Let us say you're writing this navigation bar, right? So throughout your application, you get the same navigation bar, right? You don't need to repeat this code. So you can create that component, use it wherever you want. Okay, so these are some advantages of why like we move towards React. On contrary, if you talk about Angular, Angular is also better, but in terms of like ease, reusability, and in terms of working with your DOM, React is better. Okay, so Angular does not have any concept of virtual DOM. It will just work like a normal JavaScript DOM only. Okay, so the page load time will be faster if you're using a React application, okay, compared to an Angular application. So that is why now you can just go for React. I don't say Angular is not better. It has its own pros and cons. React also has its own pros and cons. Okay, but with respect to the efficiency, page load time, React is better. Okay, did I answer your question, guys? Like someone asked why main stack and why not MERN? I hope I have given an explanation for that. Jay, is it clear? Like I think Jay has asked this question. Is it fine? You got an answer? Yeah. All right. So we'll see that when we go for React. So for learning React, or let us say you want to learn some basic JavaScript, it's a combination of everything, right? You should also know HTML, Bootstrap, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So once after learning these modules, we'll move to React. Okay, so we are just starting with the like basic foundations, that is learning your HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. Then JavaScript for React. Okay, JavaScript, like we're not going to learn the normal JavaScript which you would have learned in your like normal curriculum. It is going to be with respect to React and your backend. Okay, we call it as ES6. So I'll be learning the ES6 conventions, which will be used with your React as well as your backend. So after that, you'll be discussing with React. React is a front end framework. Okay, it's not having any scope with backend, it's purely for front end. So after that, we'll go for the backend. So now talking about the backend, how you connect your front end to your backend, how you transport your data, creating your APIs, how you fetch a data from database to your front end is what we'll be discussing in the backend. Okay, so Node.js, Express, and MongoDB are the like phases we'll be undergoing in the backend part. Okay. So we'll see that. Like I don't want to talk much about this now. I don't want it to make it very complex. To be very simple now, first question what you'll get in mind is those who are working with Java or some other framework. Basically, Java is single-threaded or multi-threaded. Like this is the first question which will hit your mind if you want to learn some JavaScript framework. I just wanted to clarify that. So anyone who has worked with Java, full stack, or let us say the very simple, at least with JDBCs, what is the architecture of Java? Is it single-threaded or is it multi-threaded? It's a multi-threaded architecture. Okay, but I say you, Node.js is not multi-threaded. Okay, in general, JavaScript is not multi-threaded, it's single-threaded. Okay, now what is multi-threaded and single-threaded? Let us say you have a website. Okay, there will be n number of API requests, there will be n number of user requests at a given instance, right? Let us say at a particular time, not only one user will be using your web application. Am I right? So multiple users will be hitting a request to your applications. You should send response at the instance, right? So if it is single threaded, how is it going to handle that many requests is a question. Okay, so here Node.js has the architecture of event loops. We call it as event loops. Okay, I'll discuss that architecture when we go for Node.js. So using event loops, right? So it can handle requests just like how you do with multi-threading. It's even more better than that. Okay, even multi-threading has some like cons. Let us say like maximum you can create, I think, 256 threads at a time. So if there is one process or one request sitting after 256, right? So what is going to happen? Again, it's going to wait, right? The next request will wait. Even that has some cons. Okay, even it has some traps. So this way is way more better, and the average wait time using a Node.js application is better than a Java application. Let us say average wait time for one request is, let us say, 3 seconds. Okay, with Node.js, maybe it will be even 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds. Okay, because of the architecture. So that is one thing why, like most of the, like you can see most of the streaming applications, they will use Node.js only. They won't use Java frameworks. Even I think Netflix, YouTube, I'm not sure with YouTube, Netflix, and most of these streaming applications, they are using Node.js as a backend nowadays. Okay, because the average wait time, and it also works well with streams. Okay, it will not work on the concepts of buffers. Node.js has many advantages. Okay, so you can choose that as a programming language for your backend. Okay, guys, so I just want to pause for a moment here and just wanted to make sure if this is clear, like what is front end, like what is backend and all. I'll just stop my screen sharing and just have an interaction with you just to know if everything is fine. What is your understanding so far? Any questions so far, guys?
Ma'am,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
uh, uh, front end is for website designing, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and JavaScript, and
Yes.
back end is for database and Node.js.
Yes, Lakshay, exactly. So, like you having this design components, right? Like you're creating some components. All these things will fit in your front end. Okay, all the things like HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. JavaScript is a generic programming language. Okay, it will fit into front end as well as back end. Okay, so through JavaScript only, you'll be writing your React as well as Node is also based on JavaScript. Okay, so it's like a generic programming language. These are frameworks, React JS, I mean libraries, where you have some predefined modules, you can reuse it. Okay, it is actually written in JavaScript. So you need some basics of JavaScript programming language. So you'll be learning both. Okay, JavaScript for front end as well as for back end. Okay, and React is for front end. Okay, it can create reusable components. And as you said, back end is for creating your databases and other interactions. Okay, with your backend. That is basically your DB. Is it fine, Lakshay?
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So Vipul, you had a doubt. Difference between Express.js and Node.js. Yes, Vipul. See, Node and Express, like Express is a minimalistic framework of Node. Okay, what we mean to say here is Node is, and it's a very big library. Okay, like you can use Node for ERP applications. You can use it as a backend for mobile application. You can work with anything with Node. Okay, it's not restricted that you can only create web applications with it. Okay, like we talked about the streaming and all, right? So live streaming applications is different. Let us say e-commerce application is different. Am I right? But both are what?
तो 160 कैसा हुआ टिकट जाता है 160
Both are web applications basically, right? Like let us say Netflix. Is it a
28
Netflix? Is it a web application? Like can you view some movies? Maybe the browser is also supporting it, but you also have some applications for it. Like let us say you have an Android application for it, or you can install a desktop application and you can view it. You can also view it on browser. So Node.js is a generic backend, okay, where you can develop your mobile apps as well as your web applications. Okay, Express is just meant basically only for web applications. Okay, so where you handle your request and response from your front end. Okay, you take the request from the front end, take that data, process it at the back end, and give some data. Okay, so when you're talking about web application where you have very less amount of data, not huge data processing, or let us say live streaming, you will be going for Express. Okay, so it's a derivative from Node.js. Okay, Express is a derivative from Node.js. It minimizes something from Node.js, which is only used for web application. So that is the only difference. Other than that, Express is smaller compared to Node.js. Okay, in terms of features. What is framework and its use? You mentioned Bootstrap as CSS and JavaScript framework. Yes, Prafulla. See, for example, you let us say you're writing some style. Okay, so I'll just go back, share my screen. Just give me a second. So we wrote some like some tags here, right? Some HTML. Let us add some style to it. Okay, don't need to worry how I'm doing. Just like to understand, I'll do something. All right. So I'm creating this H1. Okay, so I'll not give it as background color. Let me say I'm going to give a text color. Save this. So you can see the text color is now changed. Okay, so this is done using CSS. Okay, so I have written a CSS property to change the style. Okay, but when you go for Bootstrap, okay, let us see. You have to install, like include Bootstrap to your file. You don't need to worry about the process. Just see which is easier. Okay, so just give me a second. Downloads. Okay, so I just added something with Bootstrap. So can you see some changes in the font size before and after? Let us say I'm undoing it. Okay, I'm just undoing, save it. So this one is with Bootstrap. This one is just your HTML. So could you see the difference? If I add Bootstrap, what's happening? It's adding some styling, right? So it's changing the font size, or let us say it's changing some like spacing, and it looks better, right? So you actually don't need to write any style. You don't need to write any code. Simply you can reuse some components from your Bootstrap and you can do the styling. See, the same way I'll just go to my p tag. I'll just write something, only one line I'll write. Go to docs. I'll tell you how to work with this documentation and all. Okay, don't need to worry. I'll just use this different font size. Okay, it's text primary. I left E. See, it's also giving in blue. Okay, but did I write that logic? Did I give color blue anywhere? I just gave text primary. This logic is there, right? This is your actual CSS. Okay, this logic is already been implemented by this framework. You can simply reuse whatever components you want. You don't need to write a code for that. Okay, so it will be easy when you're building your layouts and styling. It is the easiest approach, I say. Is it clear, Prafula? Yeah. So any other questions you have, guys? If you have anything, please let me know. So any questions in general also you can ask. I think I hope I answered few questions which you people asked me. So in case if you have anything more, you can ask. Okay, we will work on that. Okay, we'll just try to resolve your queries. And also with in terms of opportunities, any questions you have, like what type of preparations you have to make, how you can groom yourselves, like you can also ask any questions related to that as well. Like what is the scope, what is the opportunities, in case if you have any questions you can ask. After 5 to 10 years, do we have requirement for web developers as SaaS, AI, ML are coming? See, Vipul, like you can integrate AI and ML to your web applications also. Okay, the basics is going to remain same. Okay, you're just going to run some algorithm on your data which you have in your database and put it to your front end. Okay, like web developers is the most prominent, like for it's not, I can say, for 10 or 15 years. Maybe the technologies might change. Today we are using React. Let us say after 5 or 10 years it would be Vue.js or Next.js. Okay, it can be replaced. React can be replaced by some other technology. But say, like as you have mentioned, like you have given a time frame, at least for 5 to 7 years you have good scope for React. Okay, maybe after that also, but there are many frameworks which are coming up which might have a scope after 5 years. Okay, this is not going to change at all. Okay, you can integrate all these tools, like let us say AI, ML, everything to your web applications also. Okay, let us say you're running some stats. Even Amazon is having some AI engines, right? So it is having some AI engines which is going to process your data. It gives suggestions based on your like whatever you have searched. Even that is AI, right? Even now it has been done. Okay, so like the tools, everything you can always combine. There are ways how you can embed your web applications. Okay, so it's not going to lose its scope at all if we talk web development. Okay, it's always like it always welcomes the other technologies to embed into it. Okay, and also like you have also mentioned AWS. So AWS is the just the storage thing, right? Like even MongoDB, it works on a AWS cloud server. Okay, so it all comes together and makes a web application. Okay, you cannot say AWS only is going to take the market. No, AWS is just a part where, like, let us say you're hosting something or you are having a DB which is hosted in an AWS server. It does not have anything with your web application, right? AWS is completely like, let us say, a storage, or it's going to give you a platform as a service. Even there, like, it's one part of your web application. Okay, now also you can go for integration tools. You can work with your AWS even in full stack web development. Okay, that like it is not just a separate domain, right? So all these things come together to make your web application. It makes the user experience better. It provides the way. Okay, that's it. But the base is going to remain the same. Okay, anyhow, you are going to use some frameworks of front end and back end. It's not going to change at all. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? So just do some research on Stack. Okay, I just suggest you to um, have some look. Like you just go to LinkedIn and search for some job opportunities for, let us say, for React developers. Right? Even like now, like people are saying Angular might be replaced with React entirely. Like many people are migrating. Okay, let's see. Angular projects are still there. I don't say it's completely extinct. Okay, the cost of migration is higher. If I say I have a Amazon web application which is already developed in Angular, they'll try to add features enhancements in Angular only. Okay, it will take time to migrate completely from one platform to other platform. Okay, so there are existing projects with Angular, but when they create a new application, right? Let us say there's a new client, they are building a enterprise application, or there is a new web application coming up, they will go for React only. Okay, because that is way more advantageous than Angular. Okay, I don't say that Angular developers are not there. Okay, they are going to kill me if they say it. Okay, it has its scope. Okay, there are applications which are still running on Angular. The cost for migrating will be higher, so they will not move for React that soon. Okay, so don't mix it up here and there. Okay, but for 5 years, whatever new applications they are building, or let us say feature enhancement with React, I think React is there. Like it got popular in like 2016 or 2015. From 15, it's not new. Actually, it's around 7 to 8 years now. Okay, so it has scope. Okay, it has scope for another 5 or 7 years. I have heard some concept like state and props in React. Can you brief me on that? Yes, Vipul, sure. Okay, let me show you one example for that. So let us say you have some components. Okay, we'll call it as component here. Let me just open that file here. Just give me 1 second. I'm just doing some imports. Okay, it's already there. Product catalog and okay, let us say like it will be like normally how you write JavaScript functions, it will be like that, Vipul. Okay. So when I say like I have some data to be passed to and fro, okay, let us say I'm going to change some company name or I want to give some offer. I want to pass some data from one component to other. We use a props. Okay, so here you can see I have passed some props, right? So for image, I'll be passing some props. Maybe I would have commented it. Let me uncomment it. Wait a second. I'll just remove this. I'll run this app. You'll get some idea. So basically, like I'm passing this image URLs, okay? Like I'm passing where the image is present and I'm passing some company name. I'm passing the price. Okay, so the data is present somewhere. You're passing that data to a component. So these data only this component is going to display. Okay, where is that in your app? So this product catalog is there, right? So image, your link and price is what you'll be showing, right? Give me a second. Okay, I'll change my directory proj name and run it. Okay, so it is meant for passing data between two components. Okay, so these data you don't need to hard code it here because like let us say I'm going to create more components. Let us say you have billions of components. You're not going to repeat this code. Okay, the base remains the same, but the data will differ, right? So this data will be passed from one component to another. That is what we call it as props. Okay, when we talk about state is an internal data representation. Okay, internally, whatever data that component wants to use, we call it as state. Okay, so we'll be using with hooks. So this is basically a state. Okay, so this is an internal data what a component uses. Okay, so let me just show you where is it, where it is open. Okay, I think in, yeah. So let us say it's a very simple component. Okay, so this one, no, this template I just created it once. Okay, this is a template. See this one, but the data is received from some other component. What image should be shown, what price, what link should be shown, it's coming from a different component. Okay, don't need to repeat the code. You can just pass it as a props. And what is the status? If you want to have some internal data within that component, you don't want to pass it to some other component, you can create it as a state. Okay, I hope it's clear. We will see this, Vipul. Okay, like I'll take you through everything. Just as an example, I'm showing you this. State is between components. Sorry, props is between components. State is only for that within the component, same component. All right, guys. So any questions, any clarifications, you please ask me.
Ma'am, can you repeat that? Props is,
Yeah, see,
and
props. Yes, Lakshay. See, basically, like I have created some template. Okay. So this one, okay, if I say a product catalog, if you see in Amazon also, every product has some structure, right? You will have some image, you will have some link, you will have some price. Okay, and other options. This template is same for all the products you view on Amazon. Am I right? Yes.
yes, ma'am.
So you don't need to sit and create it for all the billions of products. You cannot create it. So I'll just create one template. Let us say what is IMG, what is a link, and what is a price. The data for those sources will come from some other place. Okay, let us say I'm passing it as prop here. Okay, see, I'm passing the image link here. This is your buy link and this is my price. So simply I'll just pass this value to this component. Okay, so it will, like how many ever times you're calling it, that many times it will execute. So here this data will come from your backend. Okay, it will come from your backend. You will just create it only once. Okay, only once it will be created and the data will be fetched for different products and it will show different products. You're not going to hard code or you're not going to repeat this again and again for all the 1,000 components you have. Okay, that is with props. State is with the, like, props is like two persons communicating. Okay, let us say front end and back end. Okay, state is like you have a component within that you want to have some data. You create it using state. Okay, we'll see that briefly when we go for React. But first, before we have to learn about some JavaScript basics and we'll move on. For now, props is between two components. Two components can communicate with props. State is like you're going to have the internal data representation using your state. Okay, which means that you're not going to pass it to another component. You'll just use it for that component only. Okay, am I clear?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So if that is clear, guys, we'll just wind up for today if it's clear. Tomorrow, the same timing, okay, on the same platform, the same link, we'll again meet back. Okay, you have any questions for me today? Vipul, yes, Vipul, do you have any questions? Is this program a job guaranteed program? Vipul, this will be yes. Okay, so at the end, you will be we'll be bringing you some interviews, right? So once after this 100 hours training, like you can take up all the assignments, right? So you also should put some effort. That is what we tell our students. So you have to put some effort. If you are clear with the concepts, we'll bring you the interviews. If you're clear with all the core concepts, for sure you will crack the interview. Okay, so our content is designed like that, and also we bring interviews for you so that you can get placed if you're clear with these concepts. Yeah. Okay, if you're working on that, of course you will be getting placed at the end. Okay, just it needs effort. Okay, that is what we strongly believe. We cannot blindly say we can place everyone. It's all with your effort. Okay, you learn, you get something out of it. Okay, that is what we follow. Yeah. So any other questions, guys? No problem, Vipul. Never mentioned. So if that is fine, we will wind up today and meet in tomorrow's session at the same time. Okay, is it all fine? You can also do some research. Okay, if you have any questions, please get back to me tomorrow. Okay, guys, is it fine? Yeah. All right then. So we'll meet tomorrow on the same time, guys. Okay, on the same platform. So take care. We'll wind up and meet tomorrow. Thank you all, guys. Had a wonderful session with you all. Hope to see you soon in tomorrow's session.